Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, please.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. So, I want to first and foremost say you are welcome to this uh, Zoom meeting. How many people are attending this for the first time? You can either raise your hand using, um, okay, for the first time. Oh, good, good. You can also use the chat. Um, okay, that's good, that's good. All right, so usually what we do is that we used to do this uh, monthly, but things have been quite busy. Uh, I've not been able to meet up to the monthly meeting. I think the last meeting we did was in was it September, November, either November or October of last year. Okay, so we wait a bit. Let's see, we have 9 participants presently, uh, but we just wait a bit to see to allow more people to join us. Okay, let's just wait a bit. We have waited for 5 minutes, so we just continue. All right. So first and foremost, well, let me ask how many people have started an application somewhere, either to the US, UK, Canada, anywhere. You can raise your hand if you have started an application. You can also talk. You can use the chat if you want to respond to that. Anyone? Is there anyone that started? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Good. So, of course, I know you have questions along the line, but let me just quickly do a run through of how the process looks like, because I've had many people ask the question, where do I actually start from? Um, where, where do I start from? What's the first thing I need to do? All right. So, and I will start from using if you can use your video, you can use it. If you can use audio, you can use, if you can use the chat, use the chat. Okay. So, let me just run down through the process of US, how it works here. Now, first thing I usually tell people, which is true, is for you to find the schools that you want to apply to. Look for schools. And I always say that searching for schools, looking for schools is one great work that you need to do. It's not easy. It's not, I mean, someone just say, oh, just to search for schools and then you say it's one small job. It's not very easy to search for schools. The very first thing you need to do is to search for schools. And when you search for the school, what should you do? You need to write down. What I used to do is searching for the schools. I write down their requirements. I write down, okay, University of A, this is the requirement. University of B, this is the requirement. University of C, this is the requirement. In fact, you can make a tabular form and write university requirement, or you can write university, GRE, TOEFL, um, recommendation letter, blah, 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 and then you tick it for what each of the universities need. That would be very good. And another question someone might ask is, okay, how do I search for university? Okay, because knowing the requirement will determine what you need to prepare for. For example, if the university requires uh, if the university requires TOEFL, for example, or GRE, or 6 recommendation letters, that will determine what you need to prepare for. Okay, so if the university, for example, requires GRE, you know that, oh, I need to write GRE. I'll need time to prepare for GRE, which takes at least 3 months for an average person. If they need TOEFL, I'll need time to prepare for TOEFL, which should take you at least 1 month to prepare for. Uh, and all those requirements, letter of recommendation, you may say, okay, this university requires statement of purpose and I need to build a strong profile. I need to uh, register as an intern. I need to try to build my profile, do stuff. So the first thing is find the university and then know their requirements. Now someone say, okay, their how do I know the university? There are so much universities in the United States, and that is where the work comes in. Uh, let's say, can someone give me the course? Someone who has not found a school, who is looking for a school, can you tell me a course that you are searching for schools for and accounting? Okay,
Mercy.
someone says cyber security. Let me have all those courses and let's see which one that is it that people don't find um, funding for. Okay, so
Public health.
okay, like someone is saying religious study. Okay, so let's go with accounting. Okay, there's so much that people are writing pharmacy, public health, industrial psychology, microbiology, cyber. Let's go with accounting and let's see how do you search for skills in accounting. What do you do? Now, Google is your best friend. Is you uh, and everything rise and fall on what you are able to search on Google. So let me share my screen and let's see if I'm searching for accounting now, knowing fully well that uh, all those accounting and life, there are not many funding there. Uh, not many funding exists in accounting and all those stuff. But you want to try your best. You want to make sure that you at least find assistantship. So in Google, what I just do is I type accounting assistantship. Now you will see some relevant searches because um, there are not many assistantships in accounting, but it does not mean they don't exist. Now, this is the first thing I'm saying here. Graduate assistantship in accounting department. Boom. This is Ball State University. Okay, so they have 34 graduate assistantship positions for full 1 minute here. Okay, for full-time graduate business students. And the parents of you work 20. And now you see there is accounting graduate assistantship in this school. So tuition is waived, no out of state fees, competitive stipend, 10% discount at most local bookstores. So next thing for you to do is to apply. Not necessarily apply, you want to find more information. What are the things they need? Okay. For me, when I see that they have assistantship, I want to come here. Graduate
This is not the time. Stop it.
when I get to graduate assistant,
Are you going to office today or not?
please, you can mute yourself. There's a background noise coming from someone there in the for thank you. Okay. So I want to see applying to masters in accounting program. These are their deadlines. I'm seeing everything here. There is for fall, July 1, December 1, there's April 1. And I want to see, okay, what are their requirements? Are you an international student? Definitely yes. Okay, but still, I want to see what are the requirements. GPA, GMAT. Okay, so these ones want you to write GMAT. Okay, prepare your transcript, apply application fee. Then there's fee waivers for all these guys, blah, 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 blah. Now, that is ball state. That's the first search, the very first one we saw. Let's see one other search result. This is accounting, Loyola University. Straight away, you go there. Accounting assistantship, research and development. 10 hours per week. 10 hours per week will not give you full waiver. But for you to get a full waiver, sometimes you need to work 20 hours per week. But of course, you want to consider everything. You want to check the application deadline. You want to see application employment, graduate assistant employment application. Okay. Now, once you start looking at each of these, what I do is that I start writing the requirements for each school in a sheet of paper because it's easy to for someone will just say, oh, I remember this and that. No, it's very easy to forget. This is MS in accounting, this is George Mason University. We offer graduate and for both teaching and research positions, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. This is the School of Business. Yeah, School of Business. So now that you know that they offer assistantship, what do you want to do? You want to see application requirements. And once you get there, you want to say, okay, online period, you have to pay, environment, college transcript, you have to send, goal statement, GMAT like GIA recommendation to your CV, they need all those stuff too. Okay. So you already know things that you need to prepare for. I usually create a column for application fee too. How much are they paying? I mean, how much will I be paying for the application? Now, application will be waived if you what attend one of our admission events or submit your application by priority deadline or pursue one of our pathways. So I know someone who got funding because he attended admission event and he was able to get funding because he attended those webinars that they created, that they organized and all those stuff. I think he got a waiver from the application fee too. So those things are very, very valuable. Let's see another one like cyber security. Someone said cyber security. I just simply write cyber security, cyber security. Now you should know that sometimes in searching for skills, some of the courses that you want to do may not. Now, see, all these are not necessary. They are not things that apply to me. May not necessarily come as, for example, cyber security. A way to search is to say, okay, cyber security is classified under what? Is it under computer science? Is it under um, whatever? Okay, you see that the first few results are not very necessary to me. It's this that becomes so necessary. And there's a very high probability that after this one, before you get some another um, result that is applicable to you, it may take a while. Okay, graduate research assistantship. This is Kenny State University. This is the first time I'm seeing this school. Okay, so what you want to do is to look through it again. That GRA is learning for blah blah students. The GRA commits to work a number of hours as GRA students are not PAs. Okay, so you can find out more about this here. To complete the application, you can click this and all this stuff. Okay, so next thing is you want to know what is their program requirement. Next thing is commerce. You want to see what the program requirement, and you're able to go through everything that they require of you. Okay, application requirement is what we actually need. Uh, that's not what we need. We should look for under anything under this part. Okay, when you search enough, okay, you will be able to find um the section where they wrote about what they require of people uh, um, applying. Now you can see that the result, we don't have so much result under this cyber security. Now this is College of Business, but there's cyber security somewhere. Okay, so that's not what we need. Now, if I will ask a question, who wrote cyber security? Now, because sometimes some of those courses, you won't find them standing on their own or standing as a department. So what you need to do is to search through the department and you go through the research that each person is doing in the department. That's how you know if they have what you really want. So who gave the cybersecurity under what department, or let me say, do you think it should be? Computer science department. Okay, good. So next thing for you to do is to search. Good. Next thing for you to do is to search computer science department, and this will be a big major search because under computer science you want to see who are those professors that do cyber security. So you want to see computer science assistantship. Now you will find more results. Can you see this result looks better than the last one uh, we saw? Okay, so this is computer science. Now you want to see uh, those departments that has what do you call it, cyber security. Now, of course, it's sure these guys have computer science, right? You need to be able to search and see, okay, you want to go to research. What do they do? Okay, so they have this. Now, can you see these guys have cyber security? Okay. Now, what you need to do again is to see, okay, who are those that are involved in that cyber security? Center for Information and Algorithm, blah, blah, blah. Down the center, we have, okay. You want to go to cyber security center. Okay, under computer science. All right. So you can see that even though these guys have cyber security, if you actually search for cyber security assistantship in Google, you will not come up with any result that is meaningful. You may not even find this to as one of the results. So what you can do again is look for faculty slash staff, and you want to see these guys, what do they do? Who are those that do research in cyber security? Let's do this for uh, so why we not use it click for more. Let's learn more about the fraud. Interest. Can you see his interest? If you think you are interested, you can click this link and go to his website. You can go back. Let's see which other prof do we have here. Prof Genie. Let's see Prof Genie. Let's learn more about Prof Genie. Computer science. Okay, nothing is written about Prof Genie. Let's see Prof digital security and privacy, digital watermarking, blah 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 blah. Okay, so one thing we have learned, somebody said it can also be under ECE department. What ECE? I'm not sure I know what ECE is. Okay, so but one thing we have learned is that it's very okay, electrical. Good. It's very possible that the program you are looking for, when you search for it in Google, you may not be able to come up with a really, yeah, I salute you, sir. It's very
Good evening,
possible.
sir.
Yeah, good afternoon from this side. This is best to see you. So it may
I
not be.
wanted to add some.
Gasame, good afternoon, sir.
I agree to you, sir. I agree to you.
I wanted to add something.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I will allow you to add something to it.
Yeah, I was once saying that you can find it under EC, electrical and computer engineering. And
Electrical.
again, yeah, for courses like that also, like you mentioned, it can be like a different research areas for different professors in the department. And so it might not necessarily be cybersecurity. It can also be maybe cryptography, steganography. It might be that it's working on a particular research area. So you might not see the name cybersecurity itself. It might be the particular research because cybersecurity is also broad.
Yeah.
So it can be the particular research that is working on. So you don't. So I don't think you should also search according to the name of what you want to go for. It can be a sub-discipline under another.
Yeah, very true. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and it's good to see you again.
Yeah, so good, so good, so good. So I've seen many people make that mistake and say, okay, um, I must I must search and try to look for the exact thing that I think I want to do. For example, you've seen people come up with say, okay, I want to do condensed matter. Okay, when you search condensed matter, for example, you may be seeing jobs, and someone will say, oh, I've searched through, I've not seen anything, this and that. What is that? What you want to do, that program, under what department do you think it should be? So you go there and start. Let me see some of the other responses in the chat on courses. Let me see one that is now, for example, someone said telecommunications engineering. For me, if I want to search telecommunications engineering, for example, I will ask myself, under what should telecommunications be? It should be under either elect, it should, some may have it under physics, electronics, something like that. Some may have it under whatever. Those are the things that we search on Google, like say elect, assistantship. If you search telecommunications engineering, let me put this. If you search telecommunications engineering, it will be bringing jobs. It will bring a few things about telecommunications engineering that you are actually looking for. Okay, telecommunications. Oh, have I tried this before? Or somebody tried it? People have been searching actually. Telecommunications engineering assistant. Good. Okay. Now we can see one year NS in telecommunications engineering. The next one we could see is salary. Next one is engineering phase. Next one is jobs. Then this is funding, telecommunications engineering. The next one, this is telecommunications. Okay, this is telecommunications. So this still brought something at least reasonably better than when we start cybersecurity. So you can start seeing financial assistance, and then you need to say they'll be paying you $1,350 per month for a student. In your head, don't be converting to naira. Is it someone will start converting to naira and say, "Oh my God, big money." The truth is, yes, big money when you convert to naira. I think that should be over 500,000. But the truth is, you'll be paying house rent, you'll be paying all those stuff. I will come to those ones later. We're still coming to searching for, we are still dealing with searching for schools. Okay, so those are the things you want to put into account. Somebody is sending supply chain management, for example. So I will ask, under what department do you think supply chain management should be? Well, let's try and search for supply chain management first and foremost. Supply chain management. Supply chain management. Essential. Okay, so there's supply chain management straight away. This is first result, but those other ones that we can see are actually jobs. Okay, but the first result, okay, there is operations and supply chain management here, Texas A&M University. This first result, you can actually have an idea of, okay, under where else can I find when I'm looking for supply chain management? Graduate level supply chain resource cooperative. This should be, okay, these guys have College of Management. So there is College of Management. So that means you can search research assistant with management on the phone. Okay, so these guys have so many things that you can read about, blah, 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 blah. Uh, did they put anything about money? If we meet our current research assistant. Okay, these are research assistants. Currently, which school is it? Is that North Carolina? Okay, these are students. You can actually, the male students, ask them questions about their program. Let's see this Texas A&M PhD in operations and supply management. Okay, so this one is under business school. So that means you can actually find supply chain management under business. So you can, when you search business assistantship, you can start to look at the research interest of each of those professors or each of those lecturers or some uh, uh, what will I call it now, categories. Students in business administration, you see. But under the business administration, there is operations and supply chain management. So you collect 20,000 per year, um, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you can decide to find more about the admission. What are the prerequisites? Let me click at this application process is what we need. Okay, application process. The formal, blah, 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 blah. Some yes, student, entire family online. Okay, okay, so application is filled, upload supporting document, essay, scan, blah, 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 3 level of name, unofficial GMAT or GRE. I'm coming to this unofficial with the type, and then you see all those documents, everything that you need. Okay, these guys need, do they need GMAT too? Or GR course? Okay, GMAT or GRE. Okay, so it's right, either GMAT or GRE. So these ones are not add-on saying GMAT or GRE, unofficial TOEFL or blah, blah, blah. Okay, so these are the things that you need to do for that. Now, what you need to know is that for me, when I'm searching for schools, I also want to see do they require official or non-official documents because it will take more time and more what do I call it? If someone saying the network is frustrating, sorry. Uh, I pray that the Lord will uplift you from those terrible networks. But there is smile and others now, and they are good too. All right. So what I was saying for me, I want to make sure I apply to schools at least that require unofficial documents because I don't want to spend so much money. Now, the only time when I did official was now when you're writing your GRE will ETS will give you the opportunity of sending your what do you call it now? Your official result to schools immediately. So what I did was that those schools that I knew I wanted to apply to and they only accept official documents. I put them in those categories so that ETS will send it to them straight away. Tips for passing the exam, they come there. So the result is sent to them straight away, immediately. Okay. So but generally what I do is when I choose a school, I want to be sure they are receiving unofficial documents. If they write in their site that they only receive official documents, I also send them a mail to see if they can accept my unofficial document, my unofficial transcript, my unofficial whatever, TOEFL results, GRE results. And then when I get the admission, I send them later. Okay, so those are the things you want to be sure because it costs money sending all those stuff. I mean, it costs a lot sending all those results around, sending all those things around. It's more. If you have ever sent and you don't want to use MyPost to send your document because your document Your document will get lost on the way. Uh, so not be sure of that. So what do? I form create a table, write those schools, write TOEFL. Do they require TOEFL? Let me show you something you can do. There's this site for those in physics, for those of us in physics. You can create something like that for yourself. This is gradschoolshopper.com. Everything here is about physics and things that look like that. I can sort programs by, let me say, let me browse it by GRE requirement. Okay. Now, it starts listing schools based on their GRE requirement. So it tells me, okay, this school, they require GRE, blah, 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 blah. These are the things that they require. But you can form a table like that that will include GRE requirements, application fee, um, what do you call it now? This what's this thing I was talking about? Do they require official or non-official documents and all those stuff? You can sort by TOEFL requirements. TOEFL, do they require TOEFL? Yes. For me, when I was searching for schools, when I did around the time when I've not written the TOEFL, I just scroll down because I've not written TOEFL and I don't want schools that require TOEFL. I just scroll down. It's so hard. It looks like most of them require TOEFL. But this asterisk means that there is something. Okay, you need to find out more information. This is where English is not the official language. So schools like this, I want to search more about them. I want to know more about them. What are they saying? What are they doing? Okay. I want to see more about them. I want to check the application deadline. I want to see the key requirements and all those stuff. Okay. So what you want to do, you can form that table and leave that to. I want to tell you, searching for schools might be the most tasking task. That grammar. Most tasking task. Okay. That you will have to do. Searching for school is very tedious. And once once you are able to do that, um, okay, I'll come to some of these questions I'm saying in the chat. Once you're able to do that, then you start preparing for your um for your document. You start preparing for the requirements. For example, schools that say, okay, we require GRE, then that means you need to prepare for GRE. Schools that say we need GMAT, that means you need to prepare for GMAT. So schools that say GRE or GMAT, you need to begin to say, okay, which one should I take, GRE or GMAT? Then you begin to focus your attention on those schools. I believe that the reason why many don't get scholarships or don't get the offers they are looking for is they don't patiently um, align themselves towards a particular direction. They're just, it's good to scatter wide, okay? Say, oh, I saw this today. Korea scholarship, I apply. Japan scholarship, I apply. Italy scholarship, I apply. Blah, blah scholarship. And those applications documents you are submitting are not strong enough to give you what you want. So when I did all those stuff, when I did Korea, please, and Singapore, I did all those stuff. GAE, blah, blah, blah. So many applications I didn't even submit. I was at the verge of submitting. I sent documents, paper documents to Korea. I did notarization of documents, did everything all around, sending documents all around. Okay. Now, when I did all those stuff and it didn't really work out. In fact, the only one that worked out was quickly. I got a fully funded program stuff there, but I had to use embassy with the embassy. I sat down, I said, okay, let me slow down and began to channel myself towards this particular goal. I want to go to the US. Let me start channeling my application documents towards that. And what I started doing is, okay, I checked through the schools and I wrote down things I think I need and I began to prepare for them. I believe that's the first thing you need to do. Okay, and then I prepare to write GRE. I believe you need at least, someone said I should talk about how to pass the exam tips. Preparing for GRE, I believe you need at least 3 months to prepare for GRE. I believe. And then what I did is I studied like every day. I made sure I put in effort every day to study. Every day I knew the least I wanted was 300. That was the least. It must not be lower than 300. So I started studying for it every day, every day. For me, I believe that's just the tip for passing the exam. Study for it every day, write tests, test yourself regularly, and make sure your test score is improving. You can go online and do some tests, free tests. They make it free. So you can do tests as much as possible. What I did is I made sure I did those tests, and I was, in fact, the test I wrote before my real exam, the scores I eventually had in my exam was almost the same thing I had in all those tests. I was improving gradually from around 290 something, increased 300 plus, and I started increasing. And my final result was better than the best of my test score, which I did to train myself. So I believe that's how to prepare. Just practice so much questions, practice a lot, practice the English, practice the math, practice the writing. Yeah, I wrote a lot too. I practice writing. Okay. So now, is it compulsory for you to get a supervisor um, before you apply? No, it's not compulsory, but it is good. And now I'm basically talking about the US now, but it is good for you to interact with people such that you don't know, you might be interacting with one of the admission committee members, and then such that when decisions are being made, the person already knows you, and the person said, "Oh, this guy is outstanding," and there are many other outstanding guys, and the guy is like, "Oh, I've been discussing with this guy. He looks promising. We can give him a chance." All because you've been discussing with him, he knows your name, he knows things about you, he has seen your results, you have sent him either CV or whatever, and you have seen it. It's good to interact with professor. Very good. But it's not a requirement for your admission. Now, when you interact with professors too and you are having a positive response from them, it is good for you to write it in your statement of purpose that you have interacted with this professor and you found a positive response, you've gotten a positive response from him. Okay. And you can state it that you've read his research work and all this. Now, in writing letters to professors, how do you get their attention? You should at least go through some of the works they have done, okay, just to have an idea of what they do. You don't need to understand it in its entirety. You don't need to understand it totally. Just have an idea of what they are doing. And by that, you can tell them. Now, when you write to them, you want to tell them what you have done, the experience you have, and why you are interested in them, in their research work. Tell them you have read their research work on so, okay, and tell them what you feel about it, and tell them you love to discuss more about it if they have the time, or to join their research group when you are able to secure your admission to the school, or you need funding, or whichever way. Just take it to them, but make sure you go through their research work and you have to take it to them that yes, I actually went through this research work. You don't need to understand it totally. No, you don't need to. Um, it's difficult to understand other people's research work if they are not in the group. So separately when they give a talk and you're able to ask questions. So you can even say I want to ask more questions about their research work. Professors love that who are who want to inquire, who are inquisitive, who want to know, who want to learn more. So you can always do that. All right, I have a question. I need your time and I've been able to secure supervisors in some schools in UBC. Can you, if you can use if you can speak using, did I make it impossible to speak to the one?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good, good. I can hear you.
All right. So I've been able to secure supervisors in UTC, McGill, and Alabama. So, but I've been unable to submit any scholarship application. So I don't know if there's any active scholarship that is going on presently that can actually cover my application at Alabama and at UTC, because I've actually opted out of that McGill because they made a provision for only PhD, in which I'm putting in for masters. So they say there is no provision for masters in chemistry at the moment. Actually, I've discussed with the supervisor, so I've actually given up on that. And I'm left with Alabama now and UBC. I've submitted my application to the UBC and I'm in talk with the professor there too. But since I've not submitted any scholarship application, I actually don't know the possibility of that working out. Because when it comes to visa application now, when they request for proof of fund and the like, so I actually don't have any provision for that. So that's why I'm just confused and I need clarity on that.
Okay, okay, okay. Now, I know schools in Canada, for example, one of the things that
Thank
they
you very much.
one of the things that they do is that they require you to secure an advisor. They require to secure a supervisor. Okay. Now, in such situation, the funding many times usually comes from the supervisor. Now, there are two ways, at least, let me say, at least two ways where funding can come for students. Now, when you apply, there are some schools, they every student they apply, they fund them, they give them funding. Okay, especially in the US, every student they apply. For me, when I was applying to schools, I want to apply. Those are the schools I wanted to apply to. When I see that they give funding to every student that apply, that's why I want to apply. Yeah, to be competitive, but I don't want
Go,
to.
go, go. I'm listening to something. Go first.
You can mute yourself too. Okay. So for me, I want to apply to schools that will uh, that will give every student funding. Okay. I don't want to apply to schools that will give me false hope and then but of course I applied to some schools that gave me false hope and I was looking for money here and there until I said calm down guys and I waited for another year. Okay. The school gave me admission without funding and I was searching for money, blah blah blah, saying they must not lose this admission. But after a while I told myself, you don't do this and I calmed down and I applied for schools again and I waited for 1 year. Okay. So some schools give all students funding. They give all students their funding. Why some schools don't? And the funding can either come, as I've said, through the research professor, the professor itself that you want to work with, or it comes through department. The department usually have what we call like budget. The department usually have something like a budget, funding, and all those things that they give out to students yearly. Okay, so the funding can either come from the department as a whole, or it comes from the research professor, the professor that you want to work with, or it even comes from the research group. Okay, for example, when I entered Florida, when I started with AFSSC, I was on the department funding as a teaching assistant. Okay. Then at a point I moved to professor funding. Then I moved to the group funding, the lab funding, something like that. Okay. So the lab or the research group or blah blah usually have funding. So many times in Canada, the funding usually comes through either the lab or the professor. And that's why for you to get funding, you need to secure the interest professor. So that's the case in Canada most of the time. Let me see some of the questions there again. Okay, so now,
Before we go, let me just chip in this before we go, please.
yeah,
All right, I actually go through the departmental site, and it was specified there that a minimum funding of 24,000 Canadian dollars is available, like the minimum funding that is available for newly admitted students for MSc. So I really don't know if this is actually enough or one still needs scholarship with the 24,000 Canadian dollars, excluding the international fund, international student fund that is being given 3,002. excluding that, and some other fund, the basic one, the minimum, which is 24,000. I don't know if that one is enough or one still needs to get additional scholarship so as to cover up when it comes to the issue of POF, the point of applying for visa.
Okay, okay. So I get your point now. Like, will that cover everything you need to do? Now,
Yeah.
on the international students website, they usually give an estimate of what you are expected to spend or what you are expecting to spend. Okay,
Yes.
you can prepare. So what you need to do is check to the international student site and see what is stated there as the amount that you need to prepare for. Okay, on a yearly basis. They usually give an estimate, okay, and they add it up together. And in fact, that's what they will use to process your documents. They will say, okay, the funding that these guys received is here up to this estimate that we have made. If it's not up to the estimate, they will ask you to supply another account statement to be able to make up for the deficit. So they'll be able to send you those documents.
When with the estimate they have on the site, I think the estimate on the site is 19,000 Canadian dollars plus tuition, 19,000 Canadian dollars. And meanwhile, the funding altogether with the international fund for newly admitted students is 27,000.
Then I think you're okay then. I mean, you're okay.
So, but at the point of applying for visa now, I don't know if the funding will be specified in the admission letter or thereabout.
Most,
Samuel,
yeah,
hello. Sorry to cut you short. This is Olajide. I just want to chip in something before you go ahead. Good one for you, Adeshuba. And thank you, Samuel, for setting up this meeting. You talked about your securing a supervisor, and you are not sure about what happens from there. But I know you've put in your application. But you need to understand the context of your communication with the supervisor. What has he promised you?
yeah.
Securing a supervisor doesn't guarantee anything until you have it on paper. You have some noise in the background.
Yeah, so you need to,
You need to exactly. You need to go back to your communication. Check what is his maybe you can decipher the body language from the message you guys exchange, and that will give you an idea of if you would secure funding or not. But you shouldn't just wait on that. You need to apply more until you have the paper in your hand. And to go further, you need to understand that the funding in Canada comes from a combination of your supervisor's research scholarship, comes from, for example, departmental or entrance scholarship, and the last one is usually teaching assistantships. Now, when your funding comes and then you get your admission letter, if you are given the combination of these three, it will be stated on your letter that, okay, you are getting research scholarship from your supervisor, you are getting this from entrance or departmental or graduate school scholarship, and the third one is you are getting a teaching assistantship. So they will combine everything and they will tell you, for year one, this is what you are having. But now, it now depends on when you want to apply for visa. I want to believe that if it's a full funding, it will be sufficient. Because when you get your funding, you pay your tuition. So you need to know the tuition paid in your school. And then you remove you remove your tuition, and what is left is your living expenses. And now for Canada, they always say an average of between 10 to 13,000 Canadian dollars should be shown in your account to be able to be sufficiently to be confident that you can get the visa. So these things will be stated in your admission letter if it comes. So you make the calculations right now and see whether it will be sufficient or not. But I don't even think that's even the crux of the whole thing. The most important thing is to even get the admission letter and all that should come.
yeah.
Just know this: if the funding is full, you have no issues with the embassy. Just show that you are a genuine student, which I want to believe you are already, and you know what you are doing. And your papers, your application, your educational history, everything together will speak for you already on paper when the visa officer looks at it. So you don't need to show any additional funds. You don't need to go and borrow one money from one place to put it in your account. You don't need to go and forge. You don't try it. You don't need to go and forge one account because you want to. You have the full funding already. So it is When it's full funding, they love it. They know you are a genuine student, so you should be fine. But for now, focus on securing that admission and funding. But don't rest on that. Please apply to other places until it comes.
All right, thank you very much.
So you must have it on paper. Yeah, I was speaking to you as if you already have it on paper. It's not just a word of mouth from the advisor. Okay, you must have it on paper from the department, and that this funding is what you already have. Okay. So someone is asking a question about tutu, strong tutu. I love that word, strong
Yeah.
tutu. So on the issue of tutu,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I don't know if you've seen some of the posts that some of us write on Twitter about tutu, what you can do if you have a tutu to secure an admission. Now, the first thing you should know from some of the things we look together, we check together at the beginning, you can see that the admission process is not based only on CGPA. Okay, the admission process um, is usually on a whole is usually wholesome. Let me use that word wholesome. They want to consider all your documents. They want to see, okay, if this grade is low, what else does this guy have that can make him to stand out? They want to feel for example, someone with tutu, I would always advise write GRE. Okay, if they say GRE is optional, from school they say GRE is optional. If you have it, submit it. If you don't have it, no problem. For me, for someone with tutor, I would say write the GRE and NI. For someone with tutor, I would say build other aspects of your profile. You want to build your experience so that they will see that no, this guy we can't leave him. For example, in our lab here, we have some things that we use to work that we some some application software, some you see this stuff here. These are some of part of the components of some detectors. Okay, they want to say, okay, these guys know how to work with gamma sphere. Oh wow, beautiful. These guys work with so before. They will forget completely about your tutu. So with that guys with tutu who have secured assistantship, full funding, full funding in the US. I have a friend who entered this December. He had a tutu. They finished together. He had a tutu. And then what did he do? He had a tutu. He said, okay, he did the master. He did good. He started PhD in Nigeria, but things were not working out fine. So he stopped the PhD after like 4 or 5 years. And then he started learning things about data science and then doing projects, doing things, getting stars. He was doing a lot. And then he started working for a firm or organization or something like that from using what he had learned. And then he applied to data science, data analytics or something like that. And he got full funding. He got a scholarship, not even assistantship. So he does not work for the school. He got an assistantship, everything about his tuition, everything cleared fully. Okay, so two guys are getting it. It's about what extra work can you put in aside your CGPA, and you need to put that extra work in. You can gain experience in your field. You can do internships, volunteer, do things. You don't have to get money. You know that you are building your profile.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, fine. All right.
Good evening. Please, I have a question. I don't know if I can come in now. I'm Olushola Dada.
Okay.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
I studied biochemistry. I have a tutu also. My GPA is around 3.2 in biochemistry. When I saw this message on Twitter, I was like, oh, thank God, because the information is not readily available. We don't believe, I actually don't believe that a tutu candidate can get a scholarship. But thanks for the information from the like of you and then the rest on Twitter.
Okay, before I
please,
before I let you continue, there's something I forgot to add that tutu candidates can do too. Is that sometimes when you do a West evaluation of your transcript, what they do sometimes is they even remove some unnecessary courses that you did during your undergraduate. You know, in Nigeria, we do so many unnecessary courses. Okay, so they remove it and recalculate your CGPA. And when they do the recalculation and all those stuff, it can even move you higher, and then you leave the grade, or what do I call it now? Okay, so sometimes when you do a West evaluation of a transcript, it makes
Okay.
the results even better. So sometimes I also suggest doing a West evaluation of the transcript. You can continue.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So I studied biochemistry, though in my school I gained admission to study basic medical science. So I went to Olabisi Onabanjo University, and then they wanted to start the program. They said we're going to write, do all the anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, medical microbiology for 4 years, because actually I wanted to study medicine. But NUC didn't go down well with the NUC, so that program was scrapped. So all of us in my department, we found ourselves in biochemistry. Some moved to anatomy, some moved to physiology and the likes. So, I did all the courses in hematology, in medical microbiology, in pharmacology. I did biochemistry, I did anatomy and physiology. But I now did extra 2 years for biochemistry. So now my certificate carries biochemistry. Though I'm interested in the health sector, but my overall GPA is 3.2. So I now said, can I still go for public health? Do I even stand a chance?
Very well.
Do
So
I stand a chance? Is there full funding available for me? Can I get one?
this is it. You stand a really good chance of doing public health. I know someone who did public health. What did she do in UI? I can't remember what course she did. And she did public health. She came here and did public health. I know another person who did public health. Who did sociology and went back and did public health. The person had switched in sociology and went back and did public health. Got a funding for it. Okay, so public health, they are not even particular that you must be from a particular course. It's public health, there's a way it relates to all those other courses. Okay, so you can do public health and you can get full funding. Now, one advice I would just give is in areas that have to do with public health, find organizations or research institutes or anywhere where you can gain some experience and make you stand out. Because public health, people are applying for public health from all over, from different places. Doctors are applying for public health. Um, and different people are applying for public health. So get relevant
Okay.
experiences which will stand you
Yeah,
out.
I did volunteering. The federal government, sorry, sir, the federal government empower volunteer. I volunteered in lab, in a medical lab. I did that for almost 4 years.
Good, good. That's one of the things
I
you want.
ran tests.
That's one of the things you want to put down in your SOP. That's one of the things you want to write. Okay, some of your experiences, some of your experience and motivation. Those are things you want to put down. That these are the things I've done. This is why I'm interested in this. Okay, so you stand a good chance. You stand a good chance. You stand a good chance. It's about saying, see, here I am. I'm the best guy for this job. Give me this opportunity. Okay, and I believe when you do, depending on what those courses, extra courses you did in school look like in your transcript, when you do a West evaluation, you'll be amazed that your results may just suddenly change from 2 to. It's very possible. So, and again, one thing I always
Okay.
ask people to do is search for those schools and look for their requirements too. Those schools, what you see, I don't know if you started with
Okay.
the way we are searching for schools. Somebody was asking about criminology. Search it the same way we have searched other schools on Google. If you can't find it straight away, think, okay, where do you think criminology should be? I know criminology sometimes can be under sociology, sometimes it can be under, I don't know, maybe some things that have to do with forensic analysis and stuff. So search for it. Search for those schools, look for their requirements. Okay, that will really, really be helpful. You'll be able to channel your write-up and the experiences you want to talk about to what they have asked.
Okay.
Good.
Thank
All
you
right,
very
sir.
much.
Now, someone is
All
asking
right, sir.
when they write
Hello.
minimum 1 minute. someone is asking chances of getting scholarship is 2.8 CGPA when most write their minimum as 3.0. Yes, most write 3.0, some say 2.75, blah, blah. My advice will always still be apply. It doesn't ought to try. Now, one thing you should know is that schools are, that's one thing you should know. Schools are always looking for students. If there are no students, many schools will lose funding. They are getting funding from the government, they are getting funding from organizations, they are getting funding from maybe Department of Energy, National Science Foundation, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, if they don't get students who will come to do their program, they will lose funding and the program will hold up. So they are always looking for students. It's possible that that year that you are applying, there are not many students who have applied to the school, and you will just be one of those that will be chosen. Okay. And that's why the CGPA is not only the consideration. Even professors know that they know different things happening to students and they just can't keep up with their CGPA. Okay. But build other aspects. Those now you've seen almost all courses now have things to do with programming. You see farmers, even those who are doing agri science, they are doing things that have to do with programming. I don't know which, what you call some of these things that they use. Some may even use Python, some may use different things. Learn these things. These are some of the things you write in your statement of purpose that I can use R to do this, I can use Python to do this, I can do this, I can do that. Those are the things you will definitely write about. Everything I've done that way now. Okay.
All right, sir.
Yeah,
Hello, sir.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you for these meeting. Yeah, I so much appreciate you. It has been insightful since we started, and I congratulate myself for being a partaker of this meeting. So
yeah.
thank you once again. Actually, my question goes thus. I have 3, 4 questions to ask. It is a general belief that I've heard from many people most of the times that schools in Canada accept not less than 4.0 CGPA over 5.0. And of course, I've searched for schools and I could see that one of their major requirements when it comes to CGPA is 4.0. I don't know if you can give us a list of schools that accept, a lower CGPA. Um, I've done my worst evaluation and I had about 2.95. I don't know if you can give us schools that can accept such a CGPA. And another question that I want to ask, permit me to state out my question before you go ahead to answer them, sir.
Yeah.
The other question is, schools in USA currently, they are waiving GRE for admission purpose. So I want to ask if this waiving of GRE will influence their decision in granting assistantship in any way or any form of scholarship.
Can
And
you come again with the question?
okay, the question is, schools in USA currently they are waiving GRE scores
Yeah,
for
yeah.
admission. So I want to know if this will influence their decision in granting such students, like international students, a form of assistantship or scholarship in any way. So that's
Okay.
the 2 questions I have for now.
Now, let me start from the question about USPs waiving GRE. Now, many USPs are waiving GRE, yeah, because of the pandemic. Waiving GRE. We don't know how long that will last. Hopefully, probably that is the beginning of the end of GRE, you know. But I think every other thing will still remain the same. They still grant students assistantship, they will still grant students waivers, they will still, all those things will still be granted. Okay, so waiving the GRE requirement is a decision from them, and then students in those situations don't need to submit the the GRE test, GRE result. Okay, so if they have waived it, the admission process will move on as normal. Admission process will still run as normal. Now, concerning the question with Canada schools with low CGPA requirement, Sam is not here today. Sam Marawi I usually turn to him every time there's a question on Canada. But this
I
one thing
help him out, Samuel.
oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. You said your CGPA is below 4.0, right? The person that asked the
Yes,
question.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My CGPA is 2.95 after work.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I said my CGPA after West evaluation is 2.95.
Okay. From you when you were looking at the website of some schools in Canada, did they state that you should do any West evaluation?
No.
No. Two, the West evaluation you did, is it for Canada or US?
The one I did is for US. Anyway.
Okay, so you really need to know that it may not be applicable for Canada, one.
Canada, okay.
Two, even if you do West evaluation for Canadian schools, some of them will not accept it because they have an internal conversion system. In fact, you always use the benchmark on the website of McGill University, University of Guelph in Ontario as a benchmark. They have it. They already have it on their international credential equivalency system. Go to McGill, just Google it. So you will see for different countries, the grade you should have and how it equates to their minimum grade for admission. So you see Nigeria CGPA, and I think from Nigeria CGPA, the minimum required for admission into, for example, McGill is 3.5. So if you submit a West evaluation, they won't look at it. They won't even require it. They want your full transcript. So they will do it by themselves. They have an internal system. And two, you said, can we get a list of schools, that it will be quite difficult to just, you need to do the search and check the website. What is required in this school? They will tell you the minimum grade. But on the, let's say, for example, let's pick an example. You check Carleton University, but they did not have the international grade conversion system. But they just said the minimum we need is, the Canadian has the grade system. So go to McGill, check. Go to McGill University, check. What is the equivalence from, let's say, from Nigerian grade to the minimum? So you check from McGill, then you bring it back to the university that you want to apply to. If it matches, fine. If it doesn't, then you can't apply. So let's say, for example, you find a school that, okay, your grade works for. You should understand that meeting the minimum doesn't translate into getting funding. So once you meet the minimum, you now need to secure a supervisor. What trumps admission in Canada? The best thing that you can do for yourself is securing a supervisor's interest. Once you do that and you meet the minimum, even if you are the least, you have the lowest CGPA. Once you secure the interest of the supervisor, we go all this way out to ensure that you get into the school and his lab. Do you understand now? So you really need to do a search. You will not see it expressly anywhere that, okay, these are the schools that require 2-2. It can't work that way. This is why you need to put some work in and start for schools that will accept the grade that you have. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay. I have someone who has been raising his hand since. Umar, let's have you. You've been raising your hand since.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? So, I actually came by this.
On the side. So maybe you can drop it the question in chat. Okay, so now you can drop your question in chat. It seems the network is doing somehow.
All right.
Okay, so
Sorry, hello, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry. Let me quickly ask this question. Sorry, in applying for assistantship, either teaching assistantship or research assistantship, what are the things I need to put into consideration to secure these assistantship?
It's everything we've been talking about, everything. Remember, you are submitting your transcript, your statement of purpose, your recommendation letters from your recommenders, and those are basic things that you need to put into consideration. But we'll still talk more about that, okay? As questions come in, those are the things we are digging up and giving answers to. Okay, but everything we've been talking about,
Okay.
everything. Sunday, you have a question. Let's have it now.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, first, I hope I'm audible enough.
Very well, go on.
First, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, putting this together and letting us hear from the horse's mouth. Yeah, so I have a B Farm from the University of Ibadan, and I also have an MSc from the same university. And I've actually been checking online, and I've noticed that most of the schools seem not to have assistantships in any form for people who are applying for MSc. And then I see teaching assistantships, research assistantships for people who are on PhD and including tuition waivers in most cases. And for the PhD program, so I think between 4 to 5 years. So I was wondering, is it actually possible to perhaps reduce the number of years for a PhD program? Should I want to have a PhD program in the same subject matter where I had my MSc in University of Ibadan? I don't know. Is there any, because I know the admission processes are different for MSc, for PhD. So I don't know, is there any avenue like that? And
Uh,
then,
so the first question is still not very clear. And
okay, the first question
so you're asking, is
is
it
it
possible
possible to
to
leverage on an existing MSc from Nigeria? Yeah.
shorten the time
So
for the PhD?
you said?
To shorten the time that will be spent on the PhD.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes,
let me
yes.
quickly answer that question.
All right.
Number one, US schools generally, many of them do something that's called like MS PhD program. It's more like combined. So even many of those domestic students here, when they come in here, some of them come in with BSc and they do it 5 years and they have their PhD. Okay, along the way, some may be awarded an MSc, but it doesn't mean they are leaving the program. They are just being awarded an MSc, but they stay to complete the PhD. Some may decide not to stay, okay, and just walk away. It's their choice, but they are in for a PhD program. Now, even for those of them, those guys here who have MSc, once they come in, they still spend the same 5 years. Okay, so there is no difference when you are coming in. Either you have three MSCs or five. Once you come,
Okay.
you are still coming for the same 5 years, 4, 5 years, or 6 years, depending on your program. Okay, so even many of
Okay.
them that come here, they have MSc from the school, probably a different school, and they still come, move to some other school. They still spend the same 5 years that others will spend. However, there are also some programs that are basically MSc. Okay, purely MSc,
Okay.
not just PhD. Some schools don't offer PhD. Probably the program is not yet accredited or something like that, and they just offer MSc. So in such cases, when students finish from those schools, they move to another school that offers PhD, and they still come to spend 5 years. I have a friend in my set, in my cohort, he was doing his MS PhD program initially at which school is this? Oklahoma, somewhere in Oklahoma, and then is a domestic student here, and he had to go to FSU. He still started from the beginning with every one of us, the same way we all started. I have a friend who has two MSCs. He still come here, started on the same level. One MSc from Nigeria, one from UK. They came here, started from the same level. So that's the way US system
Okay.
works. You cannot shorten it, except you decide
Okay.
along the way that you are not doing again.
Okay. And then you can break midway, maybe after your MSc or something.
Now you can, if you want to walk away, for example,
Okay.
we write qualifying exams, okay, for PhD. Those who fail the qualifying exam and probably have spent 2 years or plus or so, they just walk away with their MSc because they failed the qualifying exam. They could not
I
continue.
see.
I had someone who was afraid of the qualifying exam, and he told me he's walking away, like he can't do it. And he started a project for MSc, and he defended his MSc, and then he went away because he was afraid he could not write the qualifying exam. And so I had a friend, he came to me, I was preparing for the exam, and he came to tell me, like, hey, Sam, I'm thinking I'm not going to write the exam. I'm doing that. I just thought of it. I just find, get an MSc, get a job, and go out there, this and that. And was talking to me in my mind. I said, you can go. You are an American. I'm a Nigerian. This PhD, we must do it. We stayed to the last end, and then I was able. I wrote my exam and passed my exam, and he got his MS. He will be getting his MSc maybe this year, and we walk away. So people do that actually, but those of us who
Okay.
are international students, we don't have so much. I mean, that choice. We as 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 it, so to speak, we don't have that choice. We stay to the end.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. And then I think perhaps the best time to actually apply would be I don't know, because most of what I've been seeing recently, it seems most of them, the deadlines are fast. So it
Very
seems it's probably a process I should have started around maybe August, September last year
very true. Very true.
for yeah.
So what you can do now is some schools accept international students for spring, which is January, and many schools accept students for fall, which is August. Okay, so it's either you are preparing for schools that can accept you in January next year, or you are preparing towards August next year. Whichever way, I mean,
Okay.
time is Ojuluma Kwesi, as we say in Yoruba.
Yeah, yeah,
Whichever way,
yeah.
the time will still definitely come. All you need to do is to prepare strong so that you have a very top-notch application. Let me pick a question from the chat.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Welcome. Justin is asking me, I said, how do you check for schools? How do you check for schools that give everybody funding? Um, Sometimes when I check, I didn't say anything about funding. Is there a specific way to check for schools that offer funding to prospective students? Okay, I'm not sure. uh, Okay, if Justin is asking those who give it to everybody. Now, from the searches we made, when we just search the name of the course or the name of the department and then assistantship, usually it takes you straight to the funding page. Okay, and the way some of those schools write it is all who are admitted are usually funded the chemical amount and they tell you the money. And then some usually say a limited number of assistantships is available. Okay, some will let you know that partial funding is available, meaning there are many students who are funding themselves. Okay, so those ways you can know, did they fund everybody admitted? Did they have, for me, when I start seeing partial funding, I don't want partial funding. You see, when I, when when I start seeing partial funding, I immediately just move away. Like, this is not what I want. I don't want partial funding. When I start seeing partial funding, I just move away another school straight away. Okay. So you can know that way when they start talking about partial funding. And schools will say, how you know they offer everyone is schools will write, we offer all admitted, so. Okay. So that's a good way to know. Let me pick some other questions. Uh, okay. So someone is saying full or partial funding for postgraduate diploma in Canada or postgraduate certificate in non-research area. Funding for diploma. I'm not so sure. Olajide, what do you think? Diploma.
Diploma, postgraduate certification, barely get funding for those places.
Yeah, yeah,
They are in colleges, they don't have funds. The best place you can get fund is in research. Even if you come into Canada to do
yeah.
a third course, you will not get funding by just approaching a professor. In fact, on the website, they will tell you already that there is no funding for third course or certification unless it is research. Or you can get a funding for a taught course, a MSc by teaching, by a taught MSc, if you apply for, let's say, MasterCard or something like that.
Yes. So for the for postgraduate diploma, no, but you can prove. I mean, you can prove us wrong by searching a lot, by doing a lot of searching, to see if that is actually possible. But for as far as I know, no. But when you get uh, MasterCard credit, for example, um, they can have it. You can get funding in those courses that are not a non-research course, non-research area. Okay, MasterCard and the like. Just a thought course where they just teach and there is no research you can get for master.
Samuel,
All right, yeah.
sorry, just to add, you can, for postgraduate certification or this thing, you can get some, let's say, not fully partial, let me say quarter funding. If there's something like that, maybe they give an entrance, let's say 1,000, 2,000 reduction. But you need to know that most of these schools are money-making ventures. And that's why you apply with a 2 or dot last. In 3 days, you get your admission. They want your money.
Yeah, so that's true. So some of them just want to make money. For example, you see a school that is telling you, we are giving you a scholarship of $5,000, and in your mind you are happy, like, yes, $5,000. And you go to say, well, how much is the school fees itself, and you are saying $35,000, meaning you have to pay $30,000. For me, is that one a scholarship? I mean, no, no. For me, that is not. Okay, so Umar wrote his question in the chat. Let me read it here. He said, my question is about emailing professors. I don't really have any research experience per se, and my prospective research area of research is quite different from my undergraduate thesis. My question is, what else can I write to include in my email to convince the professor to accept me in Islam? What else can I do? Okay, let me speak a bit to this because when I applied here, I didn't really have some, I can't say I have relevant research experience, okay? But now, when you write to professors, any experience you have will count. It does not matter where you have the experience, okay? Any experience you have will always count. It shows that you have been in research before, you have done research, you have done something that you have done research. Let me just use that word before, and you know things about research methodology. And of course, you have learned research skills. Those are the experience you have gained. Those are the skills you have gained through those experience. And now you want to do something else. You can tell the professor this is what you want to do, even though you don't have a background in it. But you believe those experience you have learned, okay, while doing your undergraduate thesis or whatever, has built you to be able to do this. And you must also show interest by reading things the professor has done. Those are the ways you can show the professor that yes, this student has the prospect to this student. Read about the research or let the professor know that this has actually read about my work. Okay. So you must be able to tell the professor, oh, I read this, your work about this. You can request for a further discussion on the research work too. Okay. You can request for a further discussion. And then you have a good GRE score. Your GRE score should be around 3, what is that? Maybe 316 or so. That's a very good GRE score and good TOEFL score. So good luck. I believe you'll find what you're looking for.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Number one, I have about 3 questions, sir. Number one, do I have to write to the professor about what I did in my undergraduate days? About
Yes.
my project? Do I have to email her?
In what situation are you
I
talking
have to
about?
do that.
No, what situation are you talking about now?
I mean my project,
Yeah.
like the project I did in my 400 level. Though it doesn't relate to anything health. Just talking about mouse and then all those experiments that we did. Then do I have to mail him or her that?
Okay, you
or
about
probably the
skill and
experience. Yes.
Okay, so
Or the experience I had volunteering in a lab.
of course you can mention things you did, like not go into details of everything you did. Okay, but you can of course mention the project you did. You did so project, and you gained this experience from it. So it's very bad thing to mention it. Yeah, you can, but not like
All
start
right, thank you.
explaining, not like start explaining what everything is about, talking about. Not necessarily.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I have another question. Something bothers me a lot. You know, in Nigeria these days, we tend towards professionalism.
Yeah.
Nurses, doctors, pharmacists, and the likes. They are professional in their field. Then I do think that public health, when I look at public health, are they professionals too? Like, you know, like these days, everybody wants to be a professional. Do I actually stand a chance? Okay, look at the career-wise over there. Nigeria here is in deep shit, if I may use that word. But over there, do I stand a chance as per job?
You mean when you finish with everything you want to do as a student, right?
Yes. When I'm through there, chances do I have?
Definitely you stand a good chance. The way this thing works is when you finish here, your degree is something. I mean, you are not coming, of course, there'll be a discrimination for someone who wants to come to work with either a degree from Nigeria, which you actually obtained from Nigeria. But when you have a degree here, you finish from a school year, you are seen as a professional, you are their product. So they can't throw you out. You really stand a chance and you will be competitive. And when you come pass through university year, it's obvious that you would have learned a lot. You would have really learned a lot. Okay. Um,
Okay. Thank you very much.
a question here. Oh, someone is giving me thumbs up.
Hello.
I give you thumbs up too. Okay, Adeshuba, before you come,
Hello.
let me put a question in the chat. There's a question here that says, does year graduation affect chances of admission? I mean, 6 years after MSc graduation, do I have the work experience to support? It does not affect. So far, you have the work experience to support. That's very good. I finished my BSc in 2012. I finished my MSc in 2015, and I got assistantship in 2019. I mean, you can call that a gap, but I was doing something in between. So, and there's very many people that I know who have 10 years gap, some 10 years, some I know someone who is already lecturing. And of course, you can say he has experience in between. That's just what matters. He's already lecturing is 40 something years. And then he came in 2 years last year, January. We met on Twitter too, if I can remember. So, I mean, so far you can fill the gap. That's okay. Yes, you can ask your question, Adesina.
All right. Thank you very much. And just like I said before, I actually secured another supervisor at Alabama, but I became discouraged after my document was evaluated at McGill, because since they didn't have any provision for MSc, I had to put in for PhD, but they had the provision of evaluating documents. So when they did, I was told that my, what's it called, my transcript could not compete, having a 3.58 or 3.58 to 5.0 scale in Nigeria. So they say it can't compete for the PhD pool. So because of that, I became discouraged, because the supervisor at Alabama actually advised me to put in for PhD too. So I'm now thinking that since the proximity of Canada to USA is somehow close, that I really don't, maybe there is no chance in the PhD program at Alabama. So that was why I actually dropped it. So what's the chance of a direct PhD in Alabama or USA compared to Canada?
So you have a BSc, right?
Yeah, BSc.
Okay. Funny thing is that this year, I know someone, he just shared with me recently. We met on Twitter. So has just a BSc, and then he got a PhD in my school year. So don't let anything hold you back. Don't let anything hold you back. Just apply. Apply as much as possible. For me, I believe once you have, especially when that person asks you to apply for a PhD, apply. Okay, don't let anything hold you back. So I
All
believe
right, thank
that
you.
I could remember
Please,
I explained that the way things work here is once you come is like MSc and PhD combined together. So once they choose you,
Yeah.
you are chosen.
All right.
sorry, let me add something to that.
Okay.
You know, the other time I said, if you meet the minimum requirements in Canadian schools, if the professor wants you for real, he will go all his way out to ensure that you join his lab. But from what you said now, it's as if you guys are in a competition, and then they've evaluated it and said that okay, your grades does not compete with the others. That's one thing you really need to know about Canadian schools, that they are really big on grades. They take grades seriously. So even though you are excelling in the aspect of research, you really need to have really solid grades as well, especially when you're in competition with others. But if you are not in competition with others and you just reach out to the professor and you have direct experience, in fact, anybody that has three better grades than you will just push that same person aside and say, okay, this is the person I want.
Yeah.
But for US, it's not like that. You have a lot of schools that you can pick from. A lot that will even, some will even be rubbing your head with your grades. With the grades that they will tell you that, oh, we want you, we do this, we do that. But you really know that the schools in Canada is less relative to US. So
Yeah.
US, if Alabama is, don't be discouraged, apply, and also look for additional schools that you apply to. If you have the
Additional skills. Yeah.
if you have the application fee and you can still pick up waivers. I mean, there are schools that, although December 15 has passed, January 15 has passed, but there are some deadlines for January 31st, some February 15th, some even up till March. So you really need to, and that's what Samuel Ajayi said from onset. The number one skill is searching. It's very tedious, but it's one skill you need to consider, especially when you are looking for graduate schools that will fit into your profile. But if you have a 4.9, you understand, you already know that all schools, anywhere you go to, you can just get any easy because you don't have that issue. But once you have an issue in terms of grades, it's not getting a school will not depend on your searching skill. So please look into that aspect. Thank you.
Okay. So someone is asking
So
questions.
how do we calculate
Okay, wait, let
how
me
do we
just
calculate the 4.0 scale to Nigeria this thing? To Nigeria 5.0 scale?
some they have their own
Okay.
calculator, of course.
Yeah, of course. But
Mm.
a good estimate is if you use Scholaro GPA. Just Google it. Scholaro GPA. It's
Okay,
online.
Scholarly
Scholaro GPA. So it's a website that helps you convert your Nigerian grades to US grades. So you see, if you've taken 100 courses in Nigeria, you have to relax and fill it in one after the other and do
Yeah.
the. It's easier, so you have to take your time. But I'm sure you are motivated to do it. So just know that if you
All
take
right.
all the courses, you fill it in one after the other to give you an estimate of what your GPA will be in the US.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sir, that full funding is the flight. I mean, your flight fee, is it included, or is just
No,
the fee, the tuition fee?
no, you will find your way to the US yourself. Except if you get scholarship like MasterCard or some other scholarships that include airfare. But if you get full funding from schools in US, which is assistantship, you take care of your flight yourself. Of course, you take care of your accommodation yourself. From the stipend they're paying you, you take care of your accommodation.
Oh,
It's not like they
and
have
I
a
can,
where they will take you. Okay.
okay, and I can actually walk during the masters. I can walk.
Yeah, you can if your um if your duty in school is not so much, if it's not up to the optimum level, up to 20 hours per week, you can work. Of course, Some people still do some work, even though they do 20 hours per week. Yeah, but they don't want you to work once you have that optimum level of 20 hours per week because it will affect your grade, and they don't want that. And in situations where you think you are facing financial difficulty and you want to work, you take permission from them and then they allow you to work. You can get employment on campus, in different places in your surroundings. You can get employment. So
Okay.
that's
So that
what
means that stipend can take care of me for the month.
it will take care of you. Yeah. If you are not a heavy spender, it will take care of you. I remember someone told me, said, we grad students in the US, we are getting a little above the poverty. We are living a little above the poverty level. But of course, that doesn't mean you won't have your car. That doesn't mean you won't have your good stuff. Too. But again, living a little above the poverty level because you cannot afford to spend money anyhow. But you live comfortably. Okay, you live comfortably. And that's
Spending.
in fact, the only thing
Okay, sir.
that will take much of your money per month is the house rent. That's what
Uh,
the house rent. You can see we saw one school that they said they give $1,350 per month. And I said, don't rejoice, don't start converting to naira because out of that 1,350, you will pay house rent. And house rent here is not like Nigeria that will pay every year. Here you pay house rent every month. Okay. And that house
Okay.
rent, and that like from that one five something, you may be paying 600, 700, 800 for house rent, depending on where you live. So whatever is left, you have to manage it. Food is cheap. Chicken is everywhere, like anything. You want to eat chicken from now to next year, there's no problem. Eat meat, eat anything. Food is really, really cheap. You enter Walmart with $100, you fill your boot with food. Okay, so
Yeah.
accommodation.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir.
Okay, let me quickly take a
All
question
right,
from
sir.
the chat. Chetan, please wait. Let me take a question from the chat from
Okay.
Ola Raju. Said we want to know if I have info about WIU, that's Washington something University. Saw a course you love, blah blah blah. Now you need to check the school first. Do they offer assistantship? Okay, Ola Raju, you need to check the school. Check their funding page. See the way we were looking at the funding page. For me, that's the first thing I'm interested in. I don't want to know about your beautiful course first and foremost. I'm not after a beautiful course first and foremost. That's good, right? I'm after funding first and foremost. When I say that a school has funding, then I start looking for their beautiful course. I don't look for beautiful course and get disappointed because they don't have funding. So go and search for their funding page first and foremost. American University in Washington DC, the same thing. Search for their funding page. Check if they have funding. If they don't have, and you send a message to them and they say they don't have funding, don't waste your $30 on them. Find another school that has funding. Okay. Now, again, one thing you should know is that it's not compulsory you do that beautiful course that you think you love. Because many times we don't even know what the course entails until we get into the game. For example, some will hear nuclear physics, they don't know what it entails. Okay, they just think, maybe these ones are building atomic bomb, this and that, they are building nuclear bomb, this and no, 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 it's not that way. Until you get there, you won't know what it really entails. The name might look very fancy and all this stuff. So look for where funding is available. That is where you should go. In fact, even if it's not a part that you really think you like, start there because there is funding there. And then later, you can always go to the place where you want to go. You can always go to the field where you want to go. But start by going to the place where funding is available. Funding is what should drive you. Which school has funding? Which school does not have funding? Which school has funding? Okay, in this school that has funding, what can I do? Okay. Later, when you get your MSc or get your PhD, you can start thinking, okay, I want to do this course, I want to do this research. Then you can start thinking about how to go to that research lab. And that's what professors here say. They say funding is the deal. If government stops funding a particular area today, many professors will shift from that area and move to the new area that the government is funding. Because if they remain in that area, how will they continue? There's no money to continue. They will suffer. Okay. So funding is the goal, Olanewaju. Funding is the goal. An age factor in getting full scholarship. Let me say there are some scholarships, general scholarships like either Korea scholarship, Japan, China, or blah blah, that put age as a factor. So you say, oh, the maximum age for masters is maybe 30, maximum for PhD is 35. But assistantship in the US, there is no age as a factor. I know people who are 40 plus who are getting assistantship in the US over 40. They are getting assistantship in the US. So it's not a factor. Abasi, you have a question.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Oh, sorry, from here. It's nice. And I'm very happy for this session. Okay, quickly, I'm a final year student, chemical engineering, University of Port Harcourt. My school is resuming very soon. And by God's grace, I'm currently above 4.6. So hopefully I will make a good grade though. Now I'm worried. I'm thinking of applying to professors. Okay, let's say looking for professors because I've not actually started. Now, I don't have any research experience, and I mean, apart from my industrial training experience, nothing else. Now, will it be nice to be candid with them, like, just be sincere and tell them that I'm just budding and I don't really have much experience and so on? Would they take it wrongly, or please?
Okay, yeah, even though it's still very early to start,
Hello?
it's still very early to start it's not too early, of course, but even though it's early to start mailing them, sending them messages. When you do send them messages, let them know the research experience that you have. For example, you said you did internship and you have experience there. Let them know that's what you have, and then you are what you currently want to do. Maybe when you're about to graduate, okay, and then what you have in mind. It's good to build such relationships ahead of time. It's very good. But you don't need to try to sugarcoat things or try to lie or do all those stuff. No, just let them know the experience you have. For example, what I did when I was having the difficulty, I told them the experience because what I wrote about was not the research experience I had. So I had to tell them the research experience I had, and I told them what I want to do now and why I want to do it. Okay, that's the way you should.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let me pick the last question from the chat, and then we see one or two questions anyone here has to ask. So, how do you know if the school has funding? So we have said that. I've answered that in the course of answering many questions again and again. Go to the funding page or go to the final. You always see something like financial assistance or funding or something like scholarship, something like that. That's how you know that they have funding. Okay. If they don't have, if they, for example, what's the name of the school you mentioned? Let's check it out. Quantitative Economics, WIU. What's WIU? Washington International University. Is that Washington International University? Um, 1 minute. I close it. Um, okay, so let's try and start. Okay, I'm having a little difficulty with my share stuff now. But the way to know is once you just find out, just search for it, go to their funding page or their financial assistance page and all this stuff, or assistantship page. That is what you want to find out about. Okay, let's take one or two questions before we end. Yeah. eating 1 hour for 5 minutes already.
Samuel,
Okay, so hello.
Yeah, yeah,
please just briefly to add to the guy that said is in chemical engineering, University of Port Harcourt.
yeah.
Sometimes you just you scout professors and you note them down like Samuel Ajayi said, note them down in notes, because very soon you'll be graduating, and you want to ensure that whatever undergraduate thesis you are going to do is something publishable. Don't look for the big guns in your department. Don't rush to the big professors. Look at the young doctors, the young hungry ones that wants to move up the ladder. Those are the ones that wants to publish. So
Yeah.
you target those people in your department, you work with them, and let them know from onset, sir, if the results from this work are promising, I would really like to publish it. That is your leverage. That's your big research experience in addition to the grade you're already building. I'm telling you, by come 2022, you should be on your way to anywhere you want in the whole world. Thank you.
Very true. Very true. The problem I had is that those who supervised me, I finished with the first class, and then many of those professors, many of those big professors, they want to be the one to supervise the first class. So my first time doing undergraduate, it was my PhD, who is a top professor that supervised me, and then I didn't publish my work. He was asking me later, I said, "Do you like your project?" I said, "Yeah." Even though I didn't really like it, I said, "Yes." Second one for my master's, the woman who is a professor, big professor, she was doing at the point the PhD, the HOD of the department too. Okay, and then we did the project. We did not publish it too. If I had went with all those young guys who are really, really, really hungry, I mean, maybe would have published one or two from one of the research work. So please, that advice is very, very, very important. So Sheson, let's start you lastly.
Oh, all right, sir. This time around, I'm not asking question. Is in a form of a requisition in a
Okay.
way. Like some of us that are ready to apply, and we already have in place our statement of purpose and resume and on grant. I don't know if you can help us in a way to vet them or peruse through it to check for any form of error that might be in there. I don't know if
Okay.
you can help us with that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's true. I've been helping people, of course. It's just that I stopped writing it out that, hey, you want me to check your stuff, because I have a lot that I'm checking, even presently. So presently now I'm rejecting people and then sending them to other folks who can really, really help. And there are a lot of folks who can help. Sam Arawu has shared a document that contains statement of purpose, letters, blah, blah, on Twitter. I also shared that document. And then I know he and very other many people on that same Twitter street help a lot, help people with the reviewing of their statement of purpose. So you can reach out to them. For me, I've reached my maximum stuff now uh, because I'm doing some presently. Some meet me through DM. I tell them I can't take any more, and I'm not sure how much more I can take from now. But people are helping guys to reduce the statement of purpose, and please reach out to them. Every one of us are willing to help, of course, but we can only do what we can, right? We cannot. Even myself, I have see this computer here, this system here. Once I'm done with this meeting, this is a lot of work for me
Oh
to.
wow.
I have a lot of work to do. Yeah, see papers here that young man is reading. This
Wow.
I see. So even with all those things, we just to try to find time
Oh,
to
thank God.
do all these things. So, because it's very important. We have a lot of potentials in Nigeria who need to leave Nigeria for them to be realized as a potential. Um, so please reach out to all those other guys on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you follow them. Oludewan, so many Olajide is here. You can follow Sam Arawu, many other guys there. Jesha, Canadian, Abiola.
Okay, sir. For clarity, sir, can you please help us with the names on the chat box, the
Okay.
chat room? Help us with the name, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And another thing, sir, on the assistantship, is it a necessity to get a professor before I can get uh, this assistantship, teaching assistant, or is it a necessity for
In
schools in
US,
the US?
no, it's not compulsory. We are just saying
It's
that
not compulsory.
it's good sometimes. It's good because sometimes it may earn you recommendation. Okay, but it's not a requirement. It's not compulsory. The first time I applied, I contacted a professor. I was not chosen. The second time, I didn't contact any professor. I just applied and I was chosen. Okay, so
And you said the other time that you're going to put us through on the assistantship application and all of that. And moreover, is it a necessity to gain admission before applying for assistantship?
no, that's what I'm saying. That many schools, once you gain the admission, you get the assistantship. Okay,
Okay,
and I tell you that for me, I always avoid schools that don't say that.
okay,
That I'm not so sure. After asking messages, some of the schools will not say anything about it, and then they give some assistantship. They don't give some assistantship. Their studies are not given. They fund themselves, and those who are given are always welcome. So some do that too,
okay.
and of course, every school has a form of funding. Some give partial scholarship, some give, but I don't want it partial. I want schools that give funding, and I want them to state it on their site, or I ask the graduate coordinator of the department if funding is available. So far, they say funding is not available for incoming students. I don't go for them. There are some schools, once you come in, they won't get funding, but as you move on, you can get funding from research lab and all those stuff. But for me, I don't want that.
Oh,
Why should I spend money for my first year when I have other schools who are ready to take me in? So
Sam,
that,
can I just add something before I leave?
yeah, please, please.
Uh, I just want to add that a lot of the questions that people have been asking, previous videos you've done have covered a lot of things, and I think people should
That's
do
true.
well to they should do well to check a
That's
lot. I remember I was one of the first people that joined this your video sessions earlier last year then. Yeah. And I think if you check LinkedIn also, you should do well to use LinkedIn. Check for maybe Nigerians that are in the schools that you're applying to. There are a whole lot of schools in the US. Send a message to them. What is the process going on in the school you want to apply to? They can give you details that you might not be able to get from anybody.
yeah.
They might tell you, okay, go for this particular professor is interested in this research area. Apply there. So just do well to research and research and research. Yeah, thank you.
oh, wow,
Mm,
thank you so much, sir.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
So I'll show you something here. I have to reach out to, for most science programs though, you have to reach out to professors before applying. You need to mention your recipe or select it in the form. Some, well, yeah, some I've not really seen those that make it as a something compulsory anyway, except if things are changing for some schools. But of course, you mention it because those are the things that make your SOP look beautiful. You want to say that, oh, you are interested in the research work of Professor XYZ. Okay. You want to say, oh, I love research work. And it is usually good to contact them and speak to them. But aside from mentioning them, I'm not sure it's compulsory to mention to contact them. You can say you are interested in their work. Okay. But generally, it's always good to contact them. But it's not compulsory that they must accept you as a student before you can apply because even they themselves, sometimes some of those professors don't have a funding of their own and they will be on the funding of the department as a teaching assistant. I have some students here who are working here, they are not on RA. Some of them are in third year, fourth year, fifth year, they are teaching assistant because their professors don't have funding or their lab does not have funding and they have to depend on the um, funding that comes directly from the department. And it's a good thing because department will always need teaching assistants. So those guys, especially those in the theory group, most of them are funded on the TA. They are standing on the TA funding, teaching assistant funding. All right. So I don't know the next time we meet. Usually it's as always in every month. But as time, any convenient time, we can just convey meetings and see how far we've gone. Most likely next one we look at statement of purposes and see statement of purpose and see how we can help one another with statement of purpose. Uh, who knows, maybe next month, hopefully. Today is Martin Luther King Day, so I have the time to quickly do this and work small and run back home. So it's so nice. I'm happy seeing every one of us. You can join the community on Twitter. Okay, it's a community. Join the community if you are not part of the community because it encourages you. Once you see people doing the same thing you are doing, even when you are thinking of giving up, you say, ah, no, this guy is still doing it. I must not give up. So join the community, be a part of it, and you'll be encouraged to apply. One thing that encouraged me when I was applying was I had people who were applying together. You see, I had people who were encouraging, oh, have you applied? Oh, I saw this school yesterday. This school, this, that. You know, say, ah, yes, yes, $30. I paid it. Oh, one $0 application fee. I mean, you see, we communicate about that to each other. And then here we are today. So almost all of us that were applying together then, almost all of us. In fact, I can say all of us that I know are already in the US, like all of us that were applying together. So join the community. You will not be left behind. It's so good to have you today. God bless you. Really good. So on Larewadi, you can check it out. Western Illinois University. Check it out if they have funding. Okay. God bless you. So see you guys later next month or wherever. Okay. So sure, I salute you. I greet you now. How is baby and mama? Sorry, me, bro. Oh, great, 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 great,
Thank you. Everything is fine.
great, great.
All right now.
Yeah, and a nice time.
You too. Bye.